We are a little late this time, but hopefully this is still good information. My name's Fish from Pallet Town PvP, and in these videos we break down give a summary of the incoming Go Battle League meta in just 6 minutes. Now this is, as always, we say this every time, so sorry if you've heard this before, but this is just your basic breakdown so you can get the ball rolling on your own research. If you'd like to take a look at a complete breakdown where we do all the thinking for you, we look at all the meta-relevant matchups and some that aren't that meta-relevant and dive deep into them. We live stream those chats every time a new meta comes in. It's myself and World Championship qualifier Lyle Jeffs, legitimately one of, if not the best battlers in the world. So we do that on this channel, and if you want to check out the complete breakdown for this meta, you can find the link in the description, or you can click here. In the meantime, here is your basics. And if you've played Jungle Cup before, you'll know that the meta's pretty much built around Vigoroth. Like, it's the centerpiece of the meta. It has play against everything with its combination of counter and body slam, and also it's just got that perfect balance of offense and bulk. You know, it can deal a punch, but it can also take a few hits as well. It even has play against a lot of the things that resist counter, and there are actually a surprising amount of things in the meta that are meta relevant that resist counter. So first, let's go through all the things that don't resist counter. Right, these are all the things that are weak to it or neutral against it. And first up, you've got Steelix with Dragon Tail, Crunch, and Psychic Fangs. You can consider Dragon Tail, Psychic Fangs an Earthquake. You are doing better against Lantern, but you are really struggling at that point against something like a Mantine, which is very, very, very popular. You've got Skarmory, which, because that flying typing is not weak to counters, generally beats Vigoroth, but with the counter and Rock Slide, you know, Vigoroth has that play back into it. Opposing Vigoroth is technically weak to counter. Abomasnow is weak to counter, and that's the only other meta relevant thing that you'll find that actually like really struggles against the Vigoroth, like has is weak to it. You've got Mandibuzz, which I'm gonna be honest, we didn't actually look too much into Mandibuzz in our meta breakdown, which was a mistake, a rare mistake on our part. But I was like preparing for this video, and I'm like, that's actually a pick worth looking at. What else have we got? The Mud Boys, so Quagsire and Whiscash. Vigoroth generally beats them, but again, they've got play. You've got Swamperts there too, but I haven't actually seen any any Swamperts myself. What else? Lantern is the other big one. That's the other neutral one against counter, which again Vigoroth will generally have the wood over, but Lantern can certainly hit back against that. So now let's look at the things that resist counter, and Clodsire is probably the one that'll have the most play against the Vigoroth, with the exception of there are some very fringe meta picks that turn up here and there. One is Palisand, which is a ghost ground type, and Vigoroth has nothing to hit that with even for neutral damage. It's one of the few things in the meta that can beat Vigoroth at a shield disadvantage. And then there's Decidueye with Leafage and Frenzy Plant, which again is resisting the counters and the body slams, but Vigoroth does have Rock Slide that can hit it, so if it's been chipped a little, then the Rock Slide can overcome that matchup. But generally, like, it's a very good matchup for Decidueye. Trouble is, both of those Pokemon struggle against so much of the rest of the meta, so bring one at your own peril. Use it to really punish a Vigoroth safe swap, but if you can't line it up right, then I don't know how well you'll do. You have, what else? We've got Mantine is resisting the counters, and it is probably one of the more common Pokemon in this meta at the moment. Altaria is there and fills that role. Dragonite, Charjabug, and Talonflame both do it. And also down here we've got Whimsicott, which I've seen every now and then, and is a really good core breaker to a lot of handy things. So the trouble with this meta is that there is a reasonable amount of rock, paper, scissors going on. Like, Steelix is going to just Dragon Tail its way through an Altaria. Like, does not need a shield anything. Maybe has to throw a Psychic Fangs once just to make sure you're doing a little bit extra damage, but that's it. You know, Steelix itself is hard countered by a Mudboy, and there are a lot of those around. You've got a lot of things that are really hard countered by Lantern. You got Mantine, you got Skarmory, you got Pelipper. They all hate, and Talonflame. They all hate to see the Lantern. So there's a lot of that dancing around the bad matchups, which makes it a little bit frustrating to play this meta. What are the safest picks in this meta? Hard to say. Easy to say Vigoroth is one of them, right? Like, Vigoroth is obviously it. Like, even those things that resist counter, like I said, it has that play against those things. You can work around that with good energy management or a shield management, etc. Next, I'd probably put Altaria in there, because the only things it really fears are your Steelix and a Abomasnow. And then probably Lantern is the third. Keep it away from a Whiscash, but a lot of the Quagsires in this meta are running Aqua Tail and Stone Edge, and like even Steelix like doesn't really, because it's obviously it's not taking a lot of damage from Spark, but it can't take too much Surf damage, and it's not dealing much damage back with its attacks. So Lantern's fairly safe in that regard. Now, really, any of the Pokemon we've discussed, you could almost pick any combination of 3 of those Pokemon and it will be a viable team. The only exception to that is make sure that you're not double hard countered to something. For example, you wouldn't put a Skarmory and Altaria in the same team, because if your opponent has Steelix, that's game over. You wouldn't put Lantern and Steelix in the same line, because if your opponent has Whiscash, that's game over as well. So just keep that in mind when you're building your team. But other than that, there's a lot of different ways you can construct a team in this meta. Good luck, and may the leads be in your favor.